When I see the Make America Great Again, my comment is, do you accept that could possibly be construed as a racist remark?
Oh my goodness! Thinking America was ever good, let alone great, that is racist. For equity, we need to say America was, is, and always will be terrible. Ha ha! I love it. But welcome back to the JP Reacts channel, my beautiful freedom-loving friend. And today it's kind of like my OnlyFans page. I'll show you my feet a little bit later. It's a hot day in Texas. I didn't have a shirt on, and I thought, let's roll with that. We're all family. It's kind of like Joe Biden's family. Hey, Daddy's gonna take a shower. You wanna get in? Or it's not that kind of family. But nonetheless, we love to call out the lies, hypocrisy, corruption of tyrants, and also highlight and call out woke absurdities. Woke absurdities are what we're calling out here. Critical race theory and the idea that everything Donald Trump, everything, believing America is good, believing America was great, that's racist. We're gonna take a look here at Bryan Cranston interview he was doing with one Chris Wallace of CNN. Shout out Chris Wallace. I didn't know you still had a job. I know he was like the head face of CNN Plus, which did pretty good. It was in business for 3 weeks. And then after they lost, I think it was $300 million, they shut down. So I guess Chris Wallace has a different show on CNN, interviewing Mr. Breaking Bad himself. And in my opinion, Mr. Breaking Bad was spewing out insane woke propaganda. It's not really surprising considering the fact that this man is a product of Hollywood. His livelihood depends on him towing the line. Let's take a look.
You got into a tussle recently with Bill Maher about critical race theory. And
Bill Maher, by the way, he's someone I love. He's a liberal, yet he doesn't go with everything woke. He's a liberal who thinks for himself. I love liberals that think for themselves. I love conservatives that think for themselves. I don't love conservatives who just do groupthink. I don't love liberals who just do, well, communist groupthink. So anyway, shout out Bill Maher. I'm sure he's not watching this, but shout out nonetheless.
And wokeness. When you look at the political discourse in our country today and the role that media plays in it, what do you think?
It's difficult to try to find truly unbiased reporting news that really is straight shooters.
It's funny, he's literally on CNN while he's saying it's difficult to find unbiased news. It's like, shut up, Bryan.
You know, this conversation I had with Bill, we're talking about critical race theory, and I think it's imperative that it's taught.
I just almost threw up in my mouth. It's imperative that critical race theory is taught. That, as a father, that scares me. Like, I feel like my mind is protected. I see it. I've got my immune system up, where if something is a racist ideology, I don't let it in. Even if it's packaged as, no, this racist ideology, this is to end racism. It's like, no, you're not going to put out the fire with fire, you mother. It scares me, what he said. That we look at our history much the same, I think, that Germany has looked at their history in involvement in the wars. Let's be logical for a second. He's saying America that certainly has a history of slavery, as does most cultures. He's saying America should look at our history with slavery the same way Germany looks at their history with what they did with the Nazis and the Jews. Now, I don't necessarily think that's a fair comparison because Germany's not doing what he proposes. With what we're doing with critical race theory, if Germany were to do that, they would be teaching Jewish people to persecute non-Jewish Germans. They would, like, all the atrocities that were done to you, Jewish people, let's do that to them. Like, two wrongs definitely make a right. We can put out the fire with more fire. So I don't think Germany's doing that. I've never been to Germany, but I have an itchy armpit. And I would also say, hopefully they own what they did. Hopefully they're very well aware of it. And hopefully they talk about it instead of erasing the history, because history that we don't learn from. has a tendency roughly 100% of the time of repeating itself. What he's saying here is just not a fair comparison because Germany's not doing what America is doing with critical race theory.
That they wanted to, and embrace it and say, this is where we went wrong. This is how it went wrong. When I see that.
And that's a good idea. Embrace what happened, look at where we went wrong and how we went wrong. Cool. That's very different than just continuing what went wrong, doing it more. That's what critical race theory is. Like, oh yeah, racism was bad, so we're going to do more racism. But now it's just like white people are bad and black people are oppressed, never going to amount to anything. White people, you're born evil, white child. It's doing it rather than reflecting on it.
The Make America Great Again. My comment is, do you accept that that could possibly be construed as a racist remark?
It's not. Frivolous accusations of racism unfortunately dilute actual racism. Got it. I'm guessing Bryan Cranston didn't vote for Trump. It'd be funny if he did. But I don't think he did. So Make America Great Again. Bryan Cranston and anyone else who says that statement is racism, they're using their imaginations. They're projecting a racist meaning onto something that I'm guessing has no intention to convey racism. It's kind of like you're accusing other people of doing what you yourself are doing right now. Apparently that saying represents racism to you, which kind of means you got a lot on your mind. Why are you projecting racism onto something that's not racist? That kind of makes you sound like a racist who's projecting a lot of racist ideas you've got in your mind. They got to go somewhere. I think you're projecting, bro.
And most people, a lot of people go, how could that be racist? Make America great again? I said...
It's like, a lot of people say, how could that be racist? Well, I'm a Hollywood elite, you idiot peasant. Let me tell you why that's racist. Listen to me. I say the words that other people put in my mouth, so you should listen to me with these words that someone else put into my mouth.
And so just ask yourself from an African-American experience.
He is not African-American. So right now he is, in my opinion, actually being a privileged white guy trying to tell the world what African-American people think. It's a pretty bad look.
When was it ever great in America for the African-American?
Now that's interesting. When was it ever great for African Americans in this country, says a white guy. So I happen to know black people who have great lives. And for this guy to sit there and say African Americans never have and aren't having great lives, that's a pretty bad look as well. I don't think it's too far of a stretch to suggest it's a racist comment unto itself for him to say African Americans don't have a great life, that they've never had a great life. Well, what about all the black people who do have great lives? I will speak for them, and they are not great lives.
When was it great? So if you're making it great again, it's not including them.
There's black people who had crappy lives. There's white people that have had crappy lives. It has never been completely great for all people. And like this divisive ideology where we got to divide people into groups. Like we're not all Americans, we're not all humans. No, black people over here, Asians here, Hispanics here, white people here. And to categorically say their whole history has been one thing for each category. There's white people whose lives suck right now. Black people whose lives suck right now. Black people in 1970s, some had great lives. Some white people had great lives. Some had crappy lives. Categorizing something, all things for all people, I would dare say that's entirely based on race, which I would dare say is in fact racism. If I didn't know any better, critical race theory and the logic used to try to propagate it is racism. Trying to end racism with racism doesn't seem to work. It's like, maybe love and unity would be kind of cool. It's kind of like if there's a fire, maybe we use water instead of fire to put it out. Okay, so that's basically the whole conversation. But you get to decide. Do you think Bryan Cranston and his critical race theory perspectives. It needs to be taught. Make America Great Again is a racist statement, which you have to use your imagination to see it that way, which means you have to have a lot of racism in your imagination. Do you think he's on point, or do you think he's off point? Do you think these are his actual thoughts, or do you think these are just the talking points that he's grown accustomed to in order to keep generating jobs and paychecks in the woke Hollywood industry that he's a part of? Let me know what you think in the comments. And for now, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, a product I absolutely love. It makes a potent difference in my health, helps me detoxify, helps give me great energy, and that is the most cost-effective sauna system on the market that I've ever seen, the infrared sauna blanket by Charge. I have an announcement. I would like to thank the sponsor of today's video, my favorite new wellness product I've gotten in the past year, Charge in their infrared sauna blanket. Get this, research has shown that using a sauna between 4 and 7 times a week gives you a 40% reduction in all-cause mortality. And aside from helping me not die, the benefits I get from the infrared sauna blanket are helps me recover from exercise, helps me recover from injuries, helps me detoxify myself, and it boosts my metabolism. After I get out, I feel renewed and energized. The benefits of using a sauna are clear, but the problem with using a sauna is most sauna systems are extremely expensive and take up a lot of space in your home, making them not very practical for most people. But the Charge infrared sauna blanket is extremely cost effective, and I love the fact that it's compact. I roll it out when I'm using it, I clean it up and put it away when I'm done. If you want to take your wellness to the next level with the best, most cost-effective infrared sauna system on the market, then just go to boncharge.com/JPReacts. And while you're there, use the discount code JPReacts for 15% off. Once again, that is boncharge.com/JPReacts, discount code JPReacts. Thank you, Charge.